and welcome to the chat room. I'm Rokomi Orumuyi. Parenting is undoubtedly one of the most rewarding jobs in the world. However, it can also be one of the most daunting. Parenting can be an overwhelming journey because you are entrusted with the life of another human being when you're still trying to wrap your head around yours. I have found that one of the ways to make parenting less daunting is by seeking the advice of people who have more experience. On the show today, we'll be discussing parenting, and Mrs. Lara Adewola will be joining us to share some parenting tips and experience. She has 3 grown children, a daughter and 2 sons, and I'm sure she has so much to share from her wealth of experience. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Hello, Mrs. Lara Adewola. Thank you for being part of the show today. Welcome to the chat room. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we're going to be talking about parenting. I want to ask, what's your approach to parenting? Because as Africans, there's a tendency for us to be autocratic in our approach to parenting because that is what was modeled to us. Right. A lot of African parents just, are up there and their kids are down there. Parents are sacred beings that you cannot question, you cannot, you just take instructions from them and that is it. But times are changing and things are changing. Research proves that it's better to engage your children when it comes to parenting. Kids are human beings too. They have emotions, they have opinions, not just, dish out instructions to them and, that's it. So what's your approach to parenting, your general approach to parenting?
I would say my general approach to parenting is total. You look at every aspect of the child's life. You are the child's parent, you are the friend, you're everything to the child. So you can discuss, you can talk, you can preach, you can pray. So every aspect is covered.
Discipline?
You can discipline when it comes to discipline. Yes. But there's some discipline that's, I would say, it's not all the time that you use discipline. Let me put it that way. You have to be able to talk at times. You have to model what you're saying. Right. So the child actually sees you doing it. Yes. So it's better for the child to be able to see this is what mom is doing, this is what dad is doing, and it's just towing and following in the pattern.
Line. Now, a lot of people would say be your children's friend. And we see a lot of mothers do that, a lot of fathers do that as well, to the detriment of that discipline that every child needs. So how do you draw the line between being your child's friend and then being able to instill, discipline?
I think as parents, you must learn to wear different caps. And you must know the times and the areas to put on the different caps. So you are not friend altogether. Yes. You are a father at some point, you are a mother at some point, you are a friend at some point, you are a colleague at some point, you are a mentor at some point. So we should learn to put on the different counselor at some point, teacher at some point. So it's not all the time that you can't be your friend all the time. So you have to be able to know the different times and areas where you have to put on the different caps and when it is needed. Okay,
so let's talk about discipline. When it comes to discipline, I know as Africans, we believe in spare the rod and spoil the child. Smacking, corporal punishment, stood down,
frog jump.
Yes.
We all remember.
So what's your take on discipline?
Well, my take on discipline is you should mirror what you want your children to do. I won't subscribe to so much of beating and the punishment because I wasn't raised up that way. But what you want your children to do, by the time you are doing so much of it, I think it's easier for the children to follow up. You are not saying this and doing the other thing. So I think as much as possible as parents, we should mirror the things we want our children to really do for them.
But what about times when your kids are naughty?
Yes,
when they naughty.
Most of the times you want to correct your children outside, and it is most of the time too late. You didn't correct them inside. They were naughty at home. You did not do anything. Then at some point in time, they're outside. You don't want them to be the perfect boy. You want them to be well behaved. Meanwhile, they've been getting away with these things at home. And most of the time, you are not correcting out of anger because you want to portray something that you are not. So at such times, we overcorrect.
Right.
And that is when you now get the child to be real naughty.
Yes.
Because I was naughty at home, you didn't do anything. So it's too late when we are trying to correct and balance outside.
But is it a personality thing? I can tell that you're sort of like a cool, calm person. So some people are maybe do not have patience for certain things. So obviously that's why they get frustrated. I know that obviously beating comes from my frustration.
Yes.
Not necessarily that the child is that naughty, but I'm just frustrated. So is it a personality thing?
I will take that personality thing as a compliment, because my people would not think I'm cool. I'm calm.
The children always think differently.
Yeah, because for me, when I beat and overreact, I think it's much more my reaction than actual, because most of the time it's not the magnitude of what that child did is not equal to the kind of punishment you are trying to give, because he has done something worse and he did not do anything. So I think it's the parent first. We should try to be balanced ourselves. When you are balanced, you are able to, you are at peace with yourself. You are able to correct and do things right. Than I'm trying to, I want you to
take out my frustration.
You are now disciplined out of frustration, and the child too can feel it.
Yes.
So the child is now prepared. It's like, you are coming for me, I'm ready for you, and you are meeting at some point. Most of the time, our children, they have a character. So it's like two people, strong-headed, you are meeting. There's going to be a volcano or whatever.
Yes, that's so true. I mean, no one teaches us how to parent. And I think that parenting is deliberate. You have to take time out. It takes time, it takes work, it takes all of you. So, I mean, and then you see certain children who come from the same parent. And then you see one who turns out a certain one. So people often say, well, how a child turns out is the parent. So what do you have to say about two children from the same parent, parented the same way? Exactly.
Same, exposed to the same conditions. So to speak.
For me, children, there are no two people that are the same. And the way you view something, the other. I have 3 children, and I can tell you the 3 of them they are poles apart. But the thing is, most of the time, as what I've seen is, you try to say, can't you see your brother? Right. Can't you see your sister? And at that time, you are causing a lot of problem. So you should learn to take, okay, this one is quiet, is hands-on, is caring. Appreciate that one for now. This one is a snob, but with his work is focused. Appreciate the other. So we should learn to bring out the best in everybody, because for me too, I'm not perfect. There's some parts of me that there's some parts of me. So we should learn to do that with our children. With that, everybody would excel at their own rights. Everybody cannot be a math major. Right. So it's when we want them, okay, your brother is greeting me, your brother comes first, you too, and that's when we are creating problem. And the other person, instead of trying to, because he can't come first, he doesn't know math, he doesn't like math, is now, it's now, how do I put it, it's now provoked to do something that is not good. So that's why you keep having challenge with the other person that is not a math major. So we should learn to identify their areas of strength and to develop and work on it. And I think we'll get total and balanced children that way than I'm a doctor, I have an hospital, I want you to be a doctor. You are not getting it right.
Sorry, I want to take you back to discipline. So how do you nip it in the bud? Like when your kids start displaying some traits that you don't like, how do you nip it in the bud?
Especially when you've mentioned it once, twice.
Well, for me, for my children, the things I normally do is, okay, we don't bring people's things home. People, you didn't buy this pencil, you see it and you feel like it's a pencil. Next time I'm going to bring a math set. The next time I'm going to bring a t-shirt. The next time I'm going to bring an Arsenal jersey. And you feel it's okay. Somebody brings in something and you say my friend gives you. What is your friend doing that is giving? These are little things. Then you will now get, because your child has been seeing you, you are a director in the office, you have been bringing in files, you have been bringing in things on there. So to them, they want to do common entrance, they knew the sideways you did to make them to pass. So they understand, they see more than the people outside see. So you have done a lot of things and the children know these are not right. Then you are now telling me that this is not right. Of course, I'm not going to answer you. So the thing is, in the areas of discipline, from little things, sit down there. I want you to sit down there. You have sorted that one from home. You put a vase on the table. This is a glass vase. This should not be tampered with. You have sorted that one at 1, at 2. So the child know these are the areas that I can get to. These are the places I can't get to. So by the time they are outside, you won't be telling them. By the time you are seated in somebody's house, they know that they are sitting beside you. When I was younger, I will give this example. We used to go to one of our uncle's house and they will tell us to come and eat. And they'd be there and say, they just finished eating. And most of the time we've not eaten. And there will be so many things. And we just knew that we are not supposed to eat. Right. But now you are somewhere, your child is, before you even sit down, he has collected the plate. So So these are the things that we have settled before we left the house.
Right.
That this is what we do. So by the time they know their limits. So when they are even across the room, you are getting across to them without talking to them.
I know there are different stages with children as well. There's the toddler stage, there's the teenage stage, and I mean, fantastic, you have children who are above 20. I mean, the teenage stage, a lot of people are usually feel very terrified of, because then they're not adults and they're not children.
They're not children
so
anymore.
you're also trying to define
There's an
maybe some of your roles.
identity crisis for them.
What do you say to parents who are raising teenagers, for example? How did you get past that stage?
Well, I have a 21, I have a 19, and I have a 17 now. For me, I think learn to respect their personality. My children now, they lock their room, you have to knock. At some point in time that I open, there is a the thing is, when you respect somebody, the respect you give the person will bring your own level of respect. So those are the things. Okay, they are in their room, they have their times, and these are the things that from the time that they were young, there are some values that you have put in place. How do you put your room? What do you do in the morning? How do when you wake up, what do you do? Some people, they don't know what to do.
They don't lay their beds.
They don't lay their beds. They don't sweep. Children, the first thing when they wake up, they go to put on the television.
TV.
Some people don't know that they should wash clothes. Thank God for the washing machine, but what are the values that you are instilling, the lifestyle that you are putting in the children, so that by the time they are leaving, they are able to pass it to the next generation? Because it's the level of what you have been able to put in them, that's what they are going to give to their children. So they know this is when we wake up, this is when we sleep. When we wake up, these are the things that we do. This is when we wash. Do we put our clothes down or do we soak? These are the things that we have to put in place. Our bathrooms, do we leave them dirty? When do we wash? Do we wash per week? Do we wash on Saturdays? So these are things. These are things that we put in place so that the respect. How do they defer to adults? Do they open the door? Do they hold the chair for elderly? Do they stand up? These are things that we need to put in place. So by the time you put it in the place, since they were young, it's a part of them. It's their lifestyle. They won't be seated and an adult is standing and they are looking at what do you expect me to do. So I think these are things that we should have started when we were young, when they were young. And when you're able to put it at that level and they understand why you are doing it, it's part of them. It's what they are living. And I think they will live by it.
Wow, fantastic. Wow, it's been such an amazing conversation.
Absolutely.
But I wanted you to give tips to maybe parents out there who are struggling. So what do you think parents are doing wrong, and what are tips that you can give for someone who has raised three very, phenomenal, young
adults?
Yes.
Well, I think in Nigeria, we put so much emphasis on education. I want you to come first in maths. I want to come first in English. And life is so wide and so big. Right. I think we should begin to put our children sports, music, arts,
exposing them
business. You have a business.
Vocations.
Let the children be involved in it during the holidays. So many times we make our friends that have bookshop, people that have places of work, let them go there and do something. Most of the time they don't give them money. Some people would give them, but my children have come back to tell me this is the best experience of my life. And while my friends feel this is child abuse, let them play, they go on vacation, but let them learn. Life is much more. Thank God their father is comfortable, but is that their life?
Exactly.
What will they make out of their own life? So these are the things that we should begin to look at. If they find themselves in the other parts of the world, how do they put all these experiences together and make something for themselves? So because you have a child, you have a driver, you have an house help, let the children have a particular thing. Thank God for all the helps, thank God for all the comfort. But what are they doing for themselves? You have girls that are not cooking. You have children that are not washing. They are not. You can't say this sitting room is your own. So we should begin to put our children under these values so that they will know that there are some things that they are supposed to be doing, and they are supposed, whether the help is there or not. These are their own. Do I call it chores or their own responsibility
around the house,
and they must do it right. And when they go outside, there are some expectations too. Are they greeting people? Are they deferring to people? These are cultures that would make people to love them. So, before they get, some people are going out of their way to do things for them because of what they portray.
Absolutely. This is why some people say parenting is the biggest job in the world,
It
because you're
is.
raising somebody to become somebody. It's
To
not
become
an easy
better
task.
than you.
To become better than you. And I like the point, I especially like the point you made about focusing so much on academics, because we're like that. You know, we focus on raising perfect children, straight A students
who can't do anything else
exactly,
apart from
instead
get
of
good grades.
focusing on raising wholesome human beings.
Absolutely.
I think that's absolutely important.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
We
much.
still get more tips behind the scenes.
I totally need this. And I think everyone should, because like we said, no one teaches. They just give us these children.
I know.
And you're supposed to just
figure
it out.
I know. You know, when I started having kids, I now realized, before I started having kids, when I met people who said, oh, they don't want to have kids, I just look at them like, how can you not want to have kids?
Now,
I mean, kids are awesome.
Yes.
But now,
they need to start making people sign stuff before they actually have kids.
now after I had kids, I now realized that, oh, kids they can be awesome, but they
work.
can also be pains in the...
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us in the chat room today. It's been such an amazing conversation. Until next time, remember, it's always a great time for real conversation and deep talk.